weight you can't see, the hidden labor of being a female entrepreneur. Everyone says female entrepreneurs carry a hidden tax. I was one of them. As a single mom, I juggled a business, kids, and the weight of everything was too much. The invisible labor of proving yourself, of holding families together, of carrying emotional weight no one else sees. And if you are a woman building a business with kids, running around the house, you know this feeling in your bones. But what if you're looking at the story all wrong? What if that invisible weight isn't just draining? What if it's just shaping us into the most resilient leader alive? Today, I'm going to show you 3 flips that completely reframe the invisible labor. How it burdens hidden muscle, how burnout becomes the system's gatekeeper, and why it's not just gender, it's class. Because when we don't see the whole picture, we keep giving band-aids to women who are bleeding out from a structural wound. Now, here's the reality. Women entrepreneurs report burnout at higher rates than men. It's a narrative, or is it a tax? A burden, something that drains ambition. So if you are that woman trying to juggle business, kids, you don't need me to tell you how heavy it feels. That late night guilt when you miss the school play because of opportunity. That early morning rush when you're feeding the kids while trying to send off proposals. The constant mental checklist in your head, groceries, payrolls, client deadlines, and soccer practice that you've just about forgotten. It's invisible because no one else sees it, but it's always there. And here's the truth. Calling it just tax misses half the story because invisible labor is more complicated than just exhaustion. It can break you, but it can also forge you ahead of success. And understanding that difference, that's the key to surviving and thriving as a female entrepreneur. So let's start with the first flip. Why invisible labor doesn't just drain, it actually builds muscle. Family logistics, constant proofing, emotional management. On the surface, they look like distractions, things pulling you away from your business, but underneath, they forge something powerful. Often recognition, resilience, empathy. And these aren't just soft skills, they're competitive edges. Think about it. The entrepreneur who can juggle 12 unseen tasks before breakfast, daycare drop-offs, investor deck edits, staff crisis, grocery lists, emotional check-in with the kids. That's the same woman. The one that can walk into a boardroom confident and handle chaos with grace. The invisible weight doesn't just drain, it builds muscle. Now, yes, the muscle comes with strain. It comes with hurt, and it burns, it hurts, it pains. But the paradox, the same labor that looks like weakness is actually training for the most challenging game in the world, building a company. For example, take Sarah Blake, the founder of Spandex. She talks about being underestimated, juggling rejection after rejection while managing life as a young mom. But muscle made her the youngest self-made female billionaire. A mom I coach once told me she could run her entire business in nap times. Imagine how efficient you get when your office hours are 90 minutes before the chaos begins. I know because I used to be one of those. That's not just weakness, it's training in high density focus. But here's the question. If invisible labor builds muscle, why do so many women still collapse under the weight? Burnout is the gatekeeper. Here's the ugly truth. Burnout isn't just an accident. It is the filter. The system doesn't just reward resilience, it demands endurance. We only hear stories of a few women who push through the exhaustion. They look heroic. They get celebrated. But thousands who are trapped under the load, they vanish. So the story gets twisted. It's not resilience being rewarded. It's the survival in a retreat. Burnout becomes the gatekeeper. And if you ever felt like you're drowning while everyone else is thriving, you're not weak. You're living inside a system that filters women out through exhaustion. For example, I once interviewed a female founder who built $1 million brand from her kitchen table. But after 2 years of pulling 16-hour days with no childcare support, she hit wall. Investors pulled out, her business folded. Her story isn't rare. It's the norm. We just don't hear it. Meanwhile, the women who make through that filter, we worship them like superheroes. But the truth is the system is selecting for endurance, not brilliance. And here's the part that no one dares to say. It's not just about gender. It's class. So when we talk about invisible tax on women entrepreneurs, who are we really talking about? Because wealthy founders, they outsource it. Childcare, house managers, private personal assistants. They still carry weight, but it's cushioned. The story of the overburdened female founder mostly centers on middle-class drivers, the women without buffers. The two entrepreneurs might be women, but the invisible bills are radically, radically different. Now compare these two entrepreneurs. One with generational wealth, nannies, private personal assistants, and one woman who is building her company while nursing her newborn, cooking dinner for her 3 kids. Same gender, same title, entrepreneurs. But their invisible tax, worlds apart. And until we name that divide, our so-called solution will stay at a surface level. More advice circles, more peer networks. But what some founders actually need isn't cheerleading, it's structural support. So how do we reset invisible labor? Okay, we've reframed that invisible labor now. I don't want to just give you ideas. I want to provide you with tools today. So here are 5 steps you can start today to stop the weight of breaking you while letting it build you. Step 1 is micro boundaries. It's called the 15-minute rule. So instead of waiting for the whole day off, which feels impossible when you're running a business with kids, to claim even those 15 minutes daily. So, but let's start doing that. No Slack, no email, no family requests. Guard it like a meeting with the investor. Resilience recharges in sprints, not marathons. Step 2, the not today list. Every morning, write down 3 things you're not doing today. Female entrepreneurs drown in those invisible expectations and those judgments they make and they put on themselves. This forces you to put some weight down consciously. Step 3, pattern recognition journal. Each night, write down 1 chaos moment you handled well, 1 trigger that spiked your stress. This builds awareness, which builds pattern recognition. It's the same hidden skill that invisible labor sharpens. Now, step 4, ask for help early, not after breaking, not after hitting that burnout. Wait till you're falling apart to delegate. Whether you're swapping childcare with another parent, ordering meal prep kits, or asking your partner to own one invisible task, treat it as a business system, not as a personal failure. Step 5, energy anchors. So instead of chasing balance, create anchors. A 5-minute walk, a 2-minute song dance break with your kids. Or it could be a 2-song dance break with your kids. I don't mean 2 minutes. A weekly no work night. Tiny anchors stabilize heavy loads. So they don't remove the weight, but they stop it from crushing you. So when I spoke to these 2 female entrepreneurs in my local area recently, one told me she left because that invisible lead broke her. The other said it became her fuel. So she could handle complexity better than anyone else. Same gender, same label, completely different outcomes. Why? Because invisible labor isn't just one thing. Sometimes it's muscle, sometimes it's burnout, sometimes it's privilege. But until we look at all 3, we keep telling half the story. Yes, the invisible work is heavy, but calling it a tax, that's missing the truth. Because sometimes it is the hidden muscle, and sometimes it is the gatekeeper, and sometimes it is the privilege in disguise. And until we name all 3, entrepreneur culture will stay broken. If this resonated with you, don't stop here. Watch out for my next video. And if you want to go deeper, join me inside the Reset Rise Masterclass, where we will turn invisible labor into unstoppable resilience. Thank you for watching.